I learnt about markets at my mother's knee, quite literally, because she did the books for our family garage business. So when I went to university, I didn't actually recognise what my economics teachers were talking about when they talked about markets, because they talked about things like perfect markets. And they had an idea that human beings were like robots, perfectly rational, and they'd stripped out really all of the human psychology in markets. And so, in doing so, they'd actually stripped out everything which makes markets work. And the trouble is that these days, politicians and public policy is fundamentally, it's made on the basis of these erroneous economic ideas that somehow there's perfect markets, and there's perfect information, and people are perfectly rational, and all of that kind of stuff. But you can't perfect markets any more than you can perfect people. Markets are people dealing with one another every day. If markets were perfect, there wouldn't be any choice, because everybody would be trading exactly the same goods. There'd be no humanity at all, because buyers and sellers would be absolutely identical. There'd be no point of trying to spot a bargain, because everybody would have perfect information. And there'd be no reason to do anything, in fact. So, you know, it's a perfect world, it's a perfect market, so why bother? You know, go to bed and put your feet up. So I wanted to write the best book on the market, as I modestly call it, so that in a way that it was so simple that even politicians would understand it. And so I made it short and accessible. So if you liked Freakonomics, or if you liked the Undercover Economist but thought they were a bit long and boring, you'll love the best book on the market. George Soros makes many billions of pounds from the markets, but he's got no faith in them, and I think he's got actually very little understanding of how they really work, he said. Soros says that they produce booms and busts all over the place. My view is it's actually the politicians and the political authorities that produce all the booms and the busts. For well-intentioned purposes, they regulate things and then they end up over-regulating them. They create a boom, and then, you know, a boom is like alcohol or drugs. You know, sooner or later you get a hangover, and that's what we're getting at the moment. We've had years and years of good times, and now we've got some bad times to come. So, you know, people think that markets might be fickle, but compared to politicians, they're absolute paragons of virtue, let me tell you. I think markets are wonderful. I think markets are extremely moral. I think markets are the best way that the world has of getting out of poverty. They deliver human benefit far better than any politician, any centralized economy can do. But of course, markets are human. Markets are not and never can be perfect. If they were, somebody would already have written the best book on the market.